In game theory, there is an interesting phenomenon under the Nash equilibrium that is called paradox. A paradox occurs when players follow rational strategies, but they end up in outcomes that is unfavorable for everyone involved. Today, I will use two classic examples to illustrate the paradox. The first example is called prisoner's dilemma. Let's say there are two players, John and Mary. Each of them can choose to confess or not confess. If both of them choose to confess, then each of them will get $5 as a reward. However, if both of them choose to not confess, then each of them will only receive $1. It seems like if both of them choose to confess, it will benefit each other. However, if confess is chosen, then John has an incentive to deviate to not confess, because by shifting from confess to not confess, his reward will increase from 5 to 20. Same logic applies to Mary's situation. She also has an incentive to deviate from confess to not confess. Finally, we will see that the Nash equilibrium is not confess for both of them, because by choosing this, no one has an incentive to deviate. If they deviate from not confess to confess, their reward will decrease from 1 to 0. This paradox illustrates that individual rationality can lead to collective irrationality, or worse outcomes for all. Another similar example is when two firms in a price war, each would benefit from maintaining high prices, but both of them want to lower their price to undercut each other, leading to low profits for both of them. The next example is called Braess paradox. Imagine there are two places. You want to go from one to the other. You can go through one of the two routes. In the upper route, the traveling time of the first part is the total number of travelers using this path divided by 10. And the second part costs a fixed time of 45 minutes. In the lower route, the first part takes a fixed time of 45 minutes, while the time spent in the second part equals the total number of travelers divided by 10. So the two routes are actually the same. If the total number of travelers is 400, then the equilibrium will be half of them use the upper route, half of them use the lower route. And each route takes 200 over 10 plus 45 equals 65 minutes. Now, let's say I want to build a highway in the middle. This highway takes 0 time. It means the time spent on the highway is too little, that is negligible. What will be the traveler's choice now? After the highway is built, the middle points in both routes does not differ from each other, since the traveling time between them is 0. So at the starting point, those 400 travelers look at n over 10 and 45 minutes. They think even if all of us use n over 10, the time is only 40 minutes, which is less than 45 minutes. So all of them will use the upper route. Then they will use the same logic. 45 minutes is greater than 40 minutes, so they will use the lower route to go to the end. In other words, the Nash equilibrium now is everyone use the upper route, and then the free path, and then the lower route. It takes 400 over 10 plus 400 over 10, which is greater than 55 minutes. So this paradox tells us that adding a new route to a traffic network can actually increase overall travel time if individuals choose the route that seems shortest for them. The paradox highlights that more options do not always improve overall efficiency. My name is Jason Wang. I'm a postdoc researcher in the math department in University of Amsterdam. Before this, I obtained my PhD from University of Melbourne in Australia.